Hey everyone, this is D Loves Deadlifts here. I wanted to talk a little bit about how I have the Rugged Maniac on Saturday. Last year was my first race. I did it by myself. I'm kind of glad that I did it by myself because it taught me that I can do things by myself. I can do things for myself, and I can pretty much do anything I put my mind to because it was more of a mental thing than a physical thing. Of course, there were a few things that I couldn't do, like I couldn't do the monkey bars and I couldn't do a couple of other things, but I at least tried everything but the incline monkey bars. And one day I will be able to do them, but this year I am doing it with 5 people. I'm doing it with myself, my buddy Caden, Advocaten, and a few other people I'm not going to name, but I'm really excited. I'm kind of nervous. I'm a little bit more fit than last year, but I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm excited to motivate everyone else on the team, on the squad. It's not just going to be me, it's going to be a whole team. I'm going to be able to help people up, they're going to be able to help me. It's going to be great. I think the Rugged Maniac is also great because you see fit people, like people who are really fit, really lean, and they're having a hard time doing these obstacles, so it makes you feel like, you know, just because you're not as fit as them, you can still do these things. So we finished the race. So over here I have my badge number and my medal. This is this year's, and this is last year's. And I think for whatever race I do or anything that I accomplish, I think I'm going to put everything on the wall so that you guys can see everything, you know, that I've done. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how it felt, how the race felt compared to last year versus this year. You know, how I felt, what kind of energy I had going into it, if I was nervous or not. So I think the race compared to last year, it was a lot easier for me. I didn't think it would be. I was nervous, I was anxious leading up to it because I'm still pretty heavy. I'm about maybe 20 pounds less than I was last year. So that was good going into it. I do a lot more cardio now, so I think that played a factor into how the race went itself. I was able to do a lot of obstacles that I didn't think I would be able to do, especially because I couldn't accomplish them last year. And I also think having a team played a really big role in racing this year versus last year, because last year I raced by myself. My friend was supposed to come and they just didn't show up, so you know, I was by myself. I didn't have a team. It was my first time. You know, I didn't know the obstacle. You know, a lot of factors played into that, but I did it. I did it last year, and this year I had a team. We had 5 people. It was really different energy. You know, there were people of all different experience levels. Caden had never done a race. My buddy Kevin had never done a race. This is my second race. And then my other friends hadn't done one either. So it was really cool for us to come together, and we pushed each other. Like there was something that I just didn't think that I was gonna do. It's this obstacle where there's water, and then there's these black boxes, and you have to hold on the rope, and then you have to run across. And last year I busted my ass and I fell, but this year I was able to hold on to the rope, and you know, I had my other teammates yelling at me, "You can do it, you can do it." And I think that was really helpful because last year I didn't have that. Last year I did have strangers help me. And another thing that I was able to do this year was I was scared to jump over fire last year. You know, I was so scared that I had a couple who didn't know me, who was like, "Hold my hand and we'll jump over the fire together." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know about this." And so last year, that's how I jumped over the fire. I held someone's hand. But this year, you know, I was running with, I think, Caden, and we were like, "Ready, set, go," and we just went. Because once you start, you can't stop because you'll fall into the fire, and that was near the end of the race. So it was really cool to, you know, be able to do things that I wasn't able to do last year. And I think something that was in my head throughout the whole race was something that Nick Bear always says. He always says, one more, you know, just try one more, just do one more. And that was what was in my head. Also, compared to last year, I felt more comfortable. You know, I had surgery last year. I didn't have a binder on. I was able to take my shirt off after the race and, you know, take pictures, and just I felt free. I felt more like myself. You know, during the race, I wasn't going to wear a cutoff, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to wear one. I love wearing cutoffs to the gym. I'm just going to do it. So I wore my self-made fitness shirt, and I was just excited to just, you know, be able to be free and do that. You know, the day after the race, I'm not as tired, I'm not as sore. You know, my knees don't hurt. I wore knee pads this year to the race, because last year I couldn't go on my knees during all the obstacles because, you know, I have pretty bad knees, so it just hurt a lot. So this year I bought knee pads and I wore them, and that helped a tremendous amount through almost all of the obstacles that I had to go on my knees. It felt so much better. I was able to complete them no problem. I was able to run up, you know, the dirt hills that I couldn't do last year. And I'm coming from a person who was 360 pounds. So if you think about 3 years ago, I wasn't able to even really walk. And last year, and this year, I was able to, you know, run some of the race. We would run to obstacles. We ran a good first half of it. So it was just really cool to see the difference in myself. From when I was 360 pounds to now, because 3 years ago I wouldn't have been able to do this. I probably wouldn't even have been able to, like, you know, walk down the street. So me being able to do my second obstacle race, that's a pretty big deal.